Now you run out for me.
We, the leadership and members of Simplicity Movement, a socio-political group with strong presence across the 23 local government areas of Rivers State, warmly welcome the newly appointed sole administrator of Rivers State, His Excellency, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ebas, retired. We are sure that you were carefully selected by His Excellency, President Bola Tinubu, because of your pedigree and track record as a seasoned military administrator, entrusted with the critical mandate to restore peace, law and order in Rivers State, an assignment the President deemed necessary under the current circumstances. We urge you, Your Excellency, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ebas, retired, to carry out this responsibility with utmost sincerity and fairness for the collective good of Rivers State. Just as you are assured in your inaugural address to the state that you are not in the state as a partisan actor or political competitor, but as a stabilizing force to restore governance and order, we appeal that you make the solemn promise, your guiding principle in the governance of our state within the period of your stay in office. The good part is that upon your arrival, you witnessed firsthand the situation in Rivers State and confirmed that the state is actually peaceful. This contradicts the false narrative peddled by the enemies of our state, which led to the declaration of the state of emergency, an action clearly aimed at removing the democratically elected governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, at all costs. We have noticed a worrisome trend on various media outlets and social media platforms where certain bloggers, notorious for blackmailing people to gain social media followers, have been paid to carry out a viral smear campaign against Rivers State, falsely insinuating that there is bloodshed and killings in the state. We condemn this falsehood in the strongest terms. Rivers State remains peaceful, even amid political misunderstandings. We urge the general public to disregard the rumors being spread by this ex-convict who is either paid or merely out on revenge against the state for being jailed at the Port Harcourt Maximum Prison for defamation of character. Furthermore, we warn anyone or any group of people planning to incite chaos in the state to justify extending the state of emergency beyond the 6-month period to desist immediately. The truth remains, Rivers State is peaceful. There is no crisis, no violence, and no lawlessness anywhere. Residents are going about their lawful business, each free. Moving forward, we want to state unequivocally that Mr. President was unfair to Governor Fubara, or may not have been properly briefed before accusing him of demolishing the Rivers State House of Assembly complex and making no effort to rebuilding it. This claim is false and was merely foisted to justify the declaration of a state of emergency. As the sole administrator has now confirmed for himself, Governor Siminalayi Fubara was already constructing a befitting and modern state assembly complex, which, according to the chairman of the Rivers State Assembly Service Commission, Dr. Tamno Sisi Gogo Jaja, was a response to several calls to better facility. And it is over 80% complete before the declaration of the state of emergency. Work was progressing at the state, and work was progressing at a steady pace, before the sudden imposition of the state of emergency. The assertion that the governor abandoned the assembly complex, the assertion that the governor abandoned the assembly complex in construction is misleading and should be corrected. Furthermore, while the state of emergency presents significant challenges, it also offers an opportunity, much like a patient in critical condition receiving urgent medical attention. We urge you to approach this task with a sense of urgency and dedication, prioritizing the welfare of the people, sustaining the economy, and revitalizing key aspects of the state institution that have been greatly impacted by the recent political crisis. Recognizing that governance is a continuum, we strongly advocate for the continuation of ongoing projects across the state, which we are thoughtfully initiated by the suspended administration of Governor Sir Similai Fobara. These projects are critical to the overall development and well-being of Rivers people. Suspending them would not only waste public resources, but also undermine the collective progress and investment of the people. While the declaration of a state of emergency is a bitter pill to swallow, nonetheless, we are ready to support the sole administrator to deliver good governance to the people of Rivers State. However, our support is hindered on the hope that democracy returns to the state as soon as possible and must not be sidelined for so long. Rivers State must not be ruled indefinitely outside the Constitution. We call on stakeholders, political actors, and well-meaning citizens of the state to desist from further heating up the polity. Let's de-escalate tensions and work toward restoring democracy and the rule of law in the state. Our position on the unconstitutional suspension of the governor of Rivers State, Similai Fobara. While we do not agree with the manner in which this political impasse between the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, the 27 lawmakers of Rivers State, on one side, and His Excellency Similai Fobara, has been handled by President Tinubu, as law-abiding citizens, we cannot rebel against his authority as we take cognizance of the fact that the buck stops on his table. We, however, strongly condemn and reject the unconstitutional suspension of Governor Sir Similai Fobara, his Deputy Governor Professor Ngozi Odu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution gives the President the power to declare a state of emergency, but it does not give him the power to suspend an elected governor. This action is a clear abuse of power, a threat to democracy, and a dangerous precedent. The people of Rivers State elected Governor Fobara, and any attempt to remove him must be done through constitutional means. We call on all well-meaning Nigerians to reject this attack on our democracy and demand that the President, in his wisdom, reverse the declaration, which is against the provision of our Constitution, which he swore to uphold. Governor Similai Fobara was unfairly treated. President Tinubu ought to have also sanctioned the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, who has featured prominently and actively in this world political chaos in the state for the sake of fairness and equity. a call for investigation into recent explosions at oil and gas installations in Rivers State. We use this medium to express our deepest concern over the recent purported explosions at oil and gas installations across Rivers State. While the truth has emerged from the operators of the Trans-Niger pipeline at border community proves that there was no such explosions in the facility. This incident posed serious threats to lives, the environment, and the economic stability of our dear state. It has also come to our knowledge that these purported explosions are being deliberately masterminded by the enemies of our state to create the false narrative of anarchy, thereby justifying an extension of the state of emergency beyond the period of 6 months. This calculated act of sabotage must not be allowed to succeed. We call on the sole administrator, His Excellency Ibokete Ibas, and relevant security agencies to conduct a thorough investigation into the immediate and remote cause of these purported explosions. If found to be acts of sabotage, the perpetrators must be identified and brought to justice to face the full weight of the law. We also recall that in a proactive effort to safeguard the state's economic assets, Governor Similai Fobora handed over a surveillance helicopter to the Nigerian Air Force to enhance security, boost surveillance, and ensure steady growth in our oil production. The donation of the Augusta Westland AW-139 helicopter is a clear demonstration of the governor's commitment to peace, stability, and the protection of national economic assets. It beats our imagination that despite such bold efforts made by Governor Fobara, the president in his declaration speech said the governor did nothing to discourage those involved in the destruction of pipelines. How best can the government provide security and deter and better crime if not through the provision of adequate equipment for the security agencies to execute their task? While we leave this question to the presidency, we must emphasize that the moment must be maintained to protect the momentum must be maintained to protect our oil and gas infrastructure from any attacks and prevent any disruption to our state's economic progress. Furthermore, we strongly advise Rivers youth and any individuals involved in economic sabotage, such as the destruction of oil and gas installations, to desist immediately and embrace lawful means of livelihood. Such criminal acts not only devastate our environment and aquatic life, but also hinder socioeconomic progress, set our state backward, and drive away potential investors. It is imperative that all stakeholders work together to safeguard our critical infrastructure and ensure the sustainable development of Rivers State. Our stance against purported appointment of sole administrator of local government areas in Rivers State. We have received credible reports of ongoing plans to appoint sole administrators in the local government areas of Rivers State. We strongly condemn this unconstitutional move as it directly negates the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. The Supreme Court has already voided the appointment of caretaker committees or any other unelected bodies, regardless of the name they are given. While the law does not encourage governance vacuums, Governor Fubara, in adherence to the Supreme Court's ruling, qualified the local government elections, lawfully instructed the heads of civil service in their local government areas to continue the administrative functions of their respective councils. Any attempt to override the Supreme Court ruling by appointing sole administrators will only escalate the political crisis in our state. Such a move will be perceived as a desperate ploy by the FCT minister and his allies to hijack the local government system through unconstitutional means, and it must be rejected by all well-meaning Nigerians. Our commitment to Governor Fubara and the Rivers people. The Simplicity Movement stands firm with the governors Similae, Fubara, GSSROS. We are confident that the truth shall prevail and that in no distant time, the president will realize that he was misinformed about the real situation in Rivers State and return the state into constitutional democracy. We remain committed to peace, justice, and the rights of Rivers people, and we believe that Rivers State will surmount this challenge and normalcy shall return soonest. This is signed by I Chief Sobomabo Jackrich.